Just about, yeah. All right. So it's now 6:33. We're going to call a meeting to order. It's the Merrimack Conservation Commission, December 19th. First is public comment. You gentlemen are here for the... That's it, right? Public comment. I guess that's open and closed. No appointments. And we're going to move right into a public hearing. So we can announce the public hearing open at 6:33 this evening, and go right into that. So you want to get one of those, Matt? Keep going. One more. You can get, well, and get the back ones. The buttons back here on. There you go. There you go. What government is it? We're used to working in the dark.
What's wrong with that?
It's like mushrooms. In the dark,
No, that's management theory. No, that's going to be long.
Right. So while this is coming alive, we're all here to talk about the donation of a 7-acre parcel.
Could you just make sure your microphone's turned on?
Yep, just did. Yep. Just take a moment to get going. So this parcel has been up and down and around and changed hands a few times, and I don't think that's where it should have been way back when the development was first planned. All right, just taking a second to get here. I can see my thing anyway, so.
Chris fixed this last week too. Right, Chris?
Yeah, I took it upstairs and fixed it, so it should turn on. Just check something because the audio sounds really quiet out of that mic.
I'm gonna try again. So in your packets, you all should have a copy of the presentation, a copy of the deed that's proposed for when you close, a copy of the covenants that were put in place when the parcel was first, when the whole development was first planned, and then I believe a copy of amendments as well. Those amendments have been voted on and approved by the homeowners association, and they just need to be recorded. And once they're recorded, then we can move forward with closing on the deal, of course, after town council meets and approves this. So, it's still not there on the screen. Let me try.
Tim, can you try using Matt's mic just for a second?
Yeah.
So here.
Does this work better?
Oh, yeah. There might be something wrong with mic 5, so if you guys don't mind sharing a mic for this meeting, sorry.
Well, we can pull another one over, I guess. Matt doesn't need a mic anyway, so that's what he says. All right, well, we're close. I had it up and running, so let's start it over again. There we go. All right. So first of all, what I'd like to do is go over some of the legalities of all this. So the Conservation Commission is put together per RSA 36-A, and in so doing, going through the state law on that. What you can hardly see in blue on the screen is under Roman numeral I-1. You can see that Conservation Commissions are able to hold land and have an interest in it, but let's see if I get this right. But in order to do that, we need to have the approval of the town council, the governing body. In our case, RSA also says that prior to use of funds, we need to hold a public hearing, which is what we're doing tonight. We're holding a public hearing on this. So that's the legalities of things. So we did post a public hearing notice. It was published in a local newspaper, and it's been available and noticed in our agenda for a while now. All right, so what's really involved? So what we're talking about is tax map parcel 6B 186. It's approximately 7 acres of land. The donation is coming from the Profile Estate Homeowners Association. It's accessed between 11 and 15 Woodbine Lane, and I have a map coming up in the presentation where you can see it. It abuts Watkins Forest. This is the Watkins Forest that's close to what we know as Mitchell Woods, since we know there's 2 Watkins Forests here in town. So it's part of the same Babusick Brook aquifer as Mitchell Woods. It does have a well easement on it that was granted to one of the abutters. I actually brought copies of that in case you want to see it. So that easement was put in place to ensure that that abutter had viable water, but I don't believe they're using that well at this point. So because they also found viable water on their own property, I believe. So.
Is the well already dug, or is it just an easement for a well?
It's an existing well, so I can bring up one of the members of the Homeowners Association if you'd like. Grant, do you want to join us? You're going to have to sign in on our book there, though. You can pull it over to you.
Your anonymity is gone forever now.
That's it.
Next, we're going to vote you in.
And then and Cindy, if you could make sure his...
Good evening. My name's Grant Normandin, and I'm the the treasurer for the Profile Estates Homeowners Association. Joining me tonight is a fellow director, Steve D'Aramo. And before we get into this, we'd like to take a moment to thank you people for everything that you do for this town and what you are doing. And especially a big thank you to Tim.
Yep.
For all his hard work and guidance to get us through this.
Thank you, Tim.
Any questions?
So the well.
The way I saw it, I walked it.
Yep.
The well is actually on the owner's property of
That's what I thought.
15 Woodbine. What the right-of-way does is gives him access to that well in the event of service. So it allows that homeowner to use the right-of-way onto this particular piece of property, and then at the top of the right-of-way, right on the corner of his property, is an artesian well, which has failed and has collapsed. And he has since re-drilled a new well on the front portion of his own property. But the right-of-way is there.
So the well is on his. Both wells are on his property.
Yes.
So it's really kind of a moot point.
The service road needs
Well,
the right of way.
the service does, but okay. But there's no. We don't have to worry about someone going out there and tapping for the well.
No.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. So that's pretty straightforward. The other part of this whole thing is the intent is to leave it in its natural state. The way the open space was put together originally, it was pretty much for recreation and park uses, and it prohibited the use of motorized vehicles on it. Let me skip to the next slide. So, and I'll touch on this again a little bit more. So essentially, the Conservation Commission will utilize Fund Number 53 to cover all recording fees, town attorney costs, back taxes, which do exist in the form of a lien now that the lien was applied by the town council on the property against a previous owner, but the lien carries with the property. It doesn't stay tied to a particular owner. Right now, it's approximately $4,700. The intent what we should be looking forward doing is to get that abated completely. The reality is the property was taxed as a residential parcel when it never could have been a residential parcel. It always had these open space covenants tied to it, and therefore it was improperly assessed. But because of the history of the parcel, it's easy to see why that happened. And a previous landowner decided never to pursue it, and ended up with this debt that needs to be taken care of. But I think we can do that between us and the town council, and that'll go away. So, but for right now, for being wide open and talking about all potential costs, that cost
Why
still
should we
exists.
pay ourselves our own taxes?
Right, exactly. It's coming out of the right pocket to go into the left pocket.
Yeah.
It's a so yeah. So so assuming we have to cover that, the total expenditure should be below $6,500. I suspect it to be far below that. The only appreciable cost is recording and attorney fees. And I must say, our attorney has been very helpful in this whole process. She's been very accommodating and works very well with the attorneys for the homeowners association. So she
Good.
deserves a nod, absolutely. So, all right. So the town assessment on the property now is $0. It was previously assessed as a buildable lot. The property is being donated as is for conservation purposes with a restricted deed, very similar to what we've done on our previous donations and purchases over the last 5 years. It also has a declaration of covenants, which have been amended, and you can all see that. The amendment was required in order for us to be able to open the parcel up for public use, because there's really no sense in donating a piece of land to the commission when, in fact, we wouldn't be able to walk on it. So that's being straightened out. That and to make sure that the association can actually complete the transfer of the property to the Conservation Commission. That was also an amendment that needed to be done. So go ahead, Grant.
That is being recorded today,
Excellent.
that amendment to the covenants. So as soon as we get that, Tim, I'll supply you with the book and page. And
Yeah, that'd be great.
okay.
So if you want to go over any of the other particulars of the deed, I'd be happy to. But you all have a copy of it, and again, it's extremely similar to what we've done in the past. So, with all the protections that we've had. So,
It lines up well with Crystal Watkins.
yeah. So this next piece is just a showing you where the parcel exists, and it's a small right-of-way coming in off of Woodbine Lane. Let me put it in perspective to other properties that we own. So when you look at it with the other properties that we own, let me see if I won't be able to swing a mouse over to it, but you can see that it abuts Watkins Forest, Mitchell Woods, other town-owned land that falls along Babusick Brook, both to the west, and then we own a large parcel to the north, which is just to the north side of the Bean Road Bridge. And then that extends up even further off towards the transfer station. So it's a whole part. It's it's just another piece, and it protects also. It helps protect the buffers, the upland buffers to where the new MVD well is being proposed to be put in, and I believe that'll be going forward on the MVD's agenda here shortly. And then again, it also provides us one more emergency access point into that area in case we should ever have to for an emergency of any sort. So beyond that, speaking with the homeowners association, I told them that our expectation is that we'll leave the property alone. We won't be really playing with it or touching it. I don't expect us to go putting in massive trails all over the place or anything like that. I did let them know that if the neighbors wanted to do something in there and wanted to put a little group together to help manage it, that would be happy to entertain that and work with them, provide training and assistance to get that done. But given all the other parcels we have, it's probably not going to see a lot of attention from us. So.
For a parcel its size, it does support a tremendous amount of wildlife.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of, again, that's where the bobcat was. We've seen lots of deer out there. There's a lot of unique birds, and there's a lot of water. So it's a very interesting little parcel.
Yeah, the Penrod parcel next to it is also, part of that whole same area too.
Yep.
So, but, yeah. So in closing, I believe it's the right thing for us to do. We're certainly very happy for the gracious donation of the Homeowners Association, and I'm happy to entertain any questions.
I got questions.
You'll need to
Come
come
on
up.
I got to sign in too.
Yes, please.
Have a seat. We don't bite.
We don't bite. All right.
He does clean up well, just not today.
Yeah, it's not today. Once the town takes over the land, is hunting going to be allowed out there?
I don't believe there's any restrictions in the covenants, and we don't have any restrictions in the deed, so I would say yes.
Considered nuisance?
Watkins Forest allows hunting now.
Yep.
And once you get over that stone wall to Mitchell Woods, it's no hunting on the Mitchell Woods side, but that Watkins Forest side hunting is allowed.
Yeah.
So it's going to be part of that part of that Mitchell Woods side.
But
So-
this is supposed to be, what, 250 feet from?
Well, so you'd have to follow all the state RSAs and rules and regulations as to the type of weapon you can use and the seasons and distance from buildings and all that stuff. So,
Occupied dwellings.
Or occupiable dwellings.
yeah.
But part of the whole conservation area is allowed hunting and part of it isn't,
No, so Watkins Forest is owned by the town.
right?
It's managed by the trustees of the trust funds, and we believe that allows hunting on it.
Okay.
Further south of that, when you get closer to the water, is Mitchell Woods, and that parcel by Chapter 111 of the Town Code does not allow hunting. And that's been in place since 1995, so that goes way back in
Right.
time. So now, because it will be a town-owned parcel, there won't be target shooting allowed on that parcel. Okay. So if you need to sight in your weapon, don't go back there and do it. Okay.
Oh, not me.
Yeah. Right. Just saying, anyone who wants to do that. So.
It's off out of me.
So, yeah, so getting back to your question about nuisance, I mean, if there are hunters being a problem, I would recommend the abutters call the police, and they can deal with that, directly.
Nuisance might have also included the discharge of a firearm, but
Typically not when it's done in a legal manner, right? So,
Yeah, if you're out there target shooting, then
yeah,
that would constitute a nuisance once we incorporate the property into the code.
yeah. So, we have actually a, blanket Conservation Commission-owned properties we don't allow target shooting on. It's just a blanket, not permitted. Now, if someone wanted to come and approach us about a particular parcel, they're welcome to come see us, but right now the answer is no until you want to put together a plan, so.
Okay.
Anything else?
I'm good.
All right, so that's all I have. If anyone else from the public has anything.
Well, we do appreciate the work you guys put into this. I mean, it's when you moved in there, this wasn't what you were expecting to have to put up with, and it's
it was a big shock.
yeah. And well,
The hardest part of the whole thing was trying
You want to
to
get him on a mic? Our minutes taker takes the minutes from the mics.
Oh, okay. The hardest part of the whole thing was getting the majority, or even the people, there's 65 involved households, and getting them to agree that this even had anything to do with them.
yeah, that's right.
They all say, well, this came up when we went to the closing to buy our house, and our title company and our attorney told us, don't worry about it. The association never assumed the property was never transferred, and it is now in possession of a private owner. So therefore, the whole thing is null and void. Well, Judicial and Superior Court thought different.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so homeowners association should have been created, back in the early 70s, never was, and it kind of got made to happen this year. So, just long enough to put this together and move it over, I believe. So,
Now you have a good excuse for a Christmas party in the neighborhood.
There you go.
Yeah.
Laugh.
That's,
Got
as soon as this is
everybody-
all said and done, yeah, we're having a block party.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what the majority of the people have said. When this is done, we gotta have a block party. Okay, and we make sure Tim and you guys are coming too.
all right.
Well, thank you again.
Thursday in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be in January. I hear you there.
No. So
So, that's that. So, normal process would be to close the public hearing, and then I'll make a motion.
okay. Do we have any more questions, conversation about this? All right. So it's 6:52. We're going to close the public hearing, and I guess that's that.
So,
I move that we accept the donation of tax map parcel 6B 186. I put my thing down, but I believe I got it right. From the Profile Homeowners Association, and expend funds from Fund 53 to cover all expenses associated with it, and to move this forward to the town council for their approval.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed $6,500.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-6-0-0.
600. Excellent.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
No, the 12th of January.
12th, yes, right. The town council meeting.
Tim's got it under control.
We know that. As Yogi says, it ain't over till it's over.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Tim, for that. That's I know that was a lot of work putting that together and keeping that going. So we appreciate it.
Did you exceed an hour an acre?
I certainly did. But I did get breakfast a few times for free, so.
Oh, nice. I printed out that map and I left it at home.
All right. There's no statutory advisory business that I'm aware of. So I think we can go right to the old business, which is the maps for our new maps for the properties. We're gonna be using. Do you need the projector for anything? We can shut off the. Okay. Just heat.
Yeah.
There's this.
Yeah, but I think they're going to need two.
Damn.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's true. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for having us back. We were here in the spring, Ryan and I, to talk about NRPC's mapping services and sort of our project approach for basically unifying the maps on 4 of your properties, addressing any of the gaps in the information. Ryan will pass around a copy of sort of a pilot map that we have for everyone to take a look at. So over the summer, Matt Karen and Matt Wakins from NRPC spent quite a bit of time in the woods with the GPS. Matt was very gracious in donating time to help us guide us through the properties, where to go, where not to go, what are some of the details about the condition, the uses, permitted uses. So that was very helpful to us, so thank you, Matt. So over the summer we completed all the field work at the 4 properties, Wildcat, Wasserman, Horse Hill, and Greater Woods. So that's pretty much wrapped up. We expect that as we start making maps with the data, there will be things that are noticed and we may have to actually go back and revise and correct as things get noted. So we're prepared for that. We just wanted to sort of talk tonight about the static mapping component of the project. So, our vision is to create a map that is portable, can be printed, maybe slid into the pocket at the kiosk at the trailhead, and then also posted online for people who may want to print a copy at home or may just want to look at it and don't really even want the paper. So this would integrate into the new Merrimack Outdoors website, and Ryan can walk you through it and what the components are on it, but we tried to kind of keep the look and feel to be consistent with the website. So that's something else to talk to you about if we achieved that. We want it to look fairly seamless with your online identity. as that changes, we want to kind of stay consistent with that. So we have talked with Wendy Weatherby a little bit about what we're doing, and Tim forwarded the sort of, I guess, beta, the new site that you're working on that still isn't public yet but is fairly well developed. So, we'd like to hear your feedback on how you think it looks relative to that website. So, Ryan, if maybe you could just kind of walk
are there
through
extras over there that we can get back?
Yeah.
Not that I don't know it by heart. But.
Do we have to give these back too?
I know. I was like,
So,
I'm gonna keep this one.
so if you notice with these, and maybe you want to touch on it, they've got the marks on it, so you could cut it out, and it would actually, fit very well.
So the intent is whoever your printer is would do that. Or
Right.
we will give this file to the printer.
Yeah, 'cause
And the story behind this is because I ended up really liking this front cover being a full bleed picture, basically.
Yeah.
You can't print that on an 8.5x11 without a little white border coming out around it, it was bugging me. So in talking to some printers, it turns out that to do that kind of look, even the professionals print it on an 11x17 and then trim it. So these little proof marks are to help them do that, I guess. So our intent would be to prepare these files, and your printer would take care of the rest once we get everything lined up the way it's supposed to look.
Because
Yeah.
the outer edges of this is an 8.5x11 sheet of paper.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's why you'll
Yeah,
notice
so it fits right in there.
that photo on the front cover extends a little up
Little
and
beyond
down
the
from
rest
the
of the-
boxes next to it,
yeah.
so that that leaves a little bit of room. And then once we get the
Sure.
map kind of centered and looking the right way in the back, it'll look like a professional brochure.
Yeah, and professional printers are used to seeing those kinds of tick marks and cutting.
Yeah.
It took me about 2 hours to find it and publish it, but I found So, yeah, let's start with the map. So Matt was in our office, 4 or 6 weeks ago, to kind of give a first look at all the data that we had collected. And we decided to run with Horse Hill as kind of a pilot for this full brochure. There was a couple things that Matt had noticed on the Horse Hill trails that we have cleaned up, but there's a couple outstanding things to still add or fix. We've made the loop trail white, for instance, and then in the little title box in the upper right, we've noted that the loop trail is blazed with white, and all of the trails are blazed with blue, but on the map they're kind of all different colors just to help separate them out from each other. Most of what's on the map and the back I kind of took from that existing Horse Hill brochure that's on your website right now. When we get to other properties, they might not be as fleshed out or fleshed out in different ways than Horse Hill, so we might have to address whether the things on the Horse Hill map are going to be consistent features on all the other properties, or for instance, if the trail descriptions aren't as in-depth already for one of your other properties, maybe something else takes its place, or you might decide to develop some trail descriptions so that all these have a nice consistent kind of content and feel. So again, back to the map. I kept the trail intersection reference in the bottom left. Again, that's something you can decide if you want to keep or lose. I think with the addition of the names of the trail now on the map, that becomes a little less important. Someone can look at post number 18 and tell what two trails are intersecting it. So if we're looking to gain a little space back, we could lose that if you wanted. We have the trail segment length still on the right there for some of the main loops and segments. We have observation areas, benches. There's a couple landmarks, I think, that are on your current map, like the summit itself of Horse Hill, and I think an old foundation or something like that we did not collect when we were out there, so we need to decide if we need to go back out there and get the exact point, or add a point manually, whatever we want to do there. But that's kind of the idea for all 4 of your properties, is to do something like this if you're in agreement that you like the way it's going. As Sarah mentioned, we'd like to kind of borrow from the new website as much as possible. So for instance, where it says merrimackOutdoors.org there in the legend, and on the bottom of that cover picture, if we could get Wendy to share her fonts and style so that matches, that would be kind of a specific instance of doing that.
So those aren't exactly her font
They're
right
not.
there?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Approximate from what we had already, but they're not exact.
And she's aware of this. I spoke to her about this, so
Yep.
you just need to talk to her.
Okay. Any questions on the map at all? So,
I have a couple. This is just my opinion. I love the map. I love the colors, and I love the way everything's identified. I've used trail maps a lot in my life, and just a couple of things. If I was using the map, I would like to see, since the power lines are such a feature there, I would like to see where they where it goes through the property.
Great.
If I was, and the little compass there, that's actually marked. That is the direction. So the top of the map is north.
It is.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we'll definitely have those. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree with that? I mean,
Yeah.
I would like to see where the power line goes to the
If
property.
it was on your existing Horse Hill map, but I know I've seen it on at least one or two of your other properties, so
Yeah.
and it's definitely a landmark, so.
Yeah, they're just great to add, because if someone's lost, the map doesn't really help them if they're already lost.
Right.
They don't know where they are on the map, you know? That's, the landmarks like that, even the foundation, stuff like that would be
Yeah, that would
great.
be a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the foundation would be good to add.
Okay.
'Cause that's a historical feature
Okay.
that we do talk about in a lot of our documents.
Yeah. And there's actually going to be, it's a project going on right now to clean it up and make it more noticeable, so.
Yeah,
So it's something you
Okay.
want to highlight.
yeah, it's a Eagle Scout project for the spring. So
Okay.
According to this map here, there's actually two summits indicated, the Blodgett Hill and Horse Hill. Would
Yeah.
both of those be meaningful to add then? Okay.
yeah,
Up by the Blodgett Hill summit. So it's in the area north of Post 12.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little section of white trail in there that's not loop trail.
From 12 up?
Yeah.
Okay.
See how that's white?
Yep.
I don't know what to make it, because it really, it's just like a,
It's not part of the brown, the Legis Trail? Doesn't have
No.
background? Okay.
it's not part of any trail, it's just trail that exists
Okay.
and is well used, but I just think making it white's a little confusing, because we have that, you know,
Oh, yeah.
loop
Sure.
trail blazed with white.
So essentially, it's a segment that has no name.
Right.
Yeah.
So making it maybe,
Connector or something like that.
or just a different color to begin with, that's not,
A different color, and don't worry about putting a label near it or anything, or just call it unnamed.
yeah, and same goes for the two white trails that
Yep.
go to Old Kings Highway.
Yep, I was gonna bring those up too.
Maybe just making those all like a thin black line, maybe.
Yeah, and then just add that to the legend as connector,
Yeah,
connector
as,
trail.
You know,
And that they'll all be the same.
connector trails marked in black or something like that.
Okay.
It might be nice to mark, since there's like some couple of high points, summits marked. It might be nice to have the elevation of those high points.
True. Even though in
Yeah,
DC it's
so,
only
I mean,
200
I know this. I realize this is.
40-something feet.
Yeah, but people still want to know. Yeah, wow, 200 feet. But I mean, since it's not a topographical map,
Right.
at least have the high elevations marked.
Would, if we were to try and capture exactly where those were, would we go by the old maps and get to about the same location? Or would we be able to tell when we were at the highest point if we walked it again, or?
It's kind of difficult.
yeah, yeah. Both of those hills
they're
are
just
kind of round, so they're
gradual.
not. It's not like
We can use the GIS to get us some general.
Right, maybe the
vicinity. It's not
LiDAR.
gonna be, it might not be perfect.
Use the
but
LiDAR
close.
data.
It would be better than
Yeah.
going by eye, because I've been out there and I'm like, is that higher? I don't know.
Yeah.
You can't. You just can't
Okay.
tell. It's so flat up there.
Okay.
Okay.
I think people find that interesting to know what the elevation is, even though it's not impressive.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Another thing too, under the legend,
Yes.
it says loop trail blazed with white. All connecting trails aren't blazed with blue. There's only one trail blazed with blue.
Yeah.
So I think that should say.
Or just leave the
Connecting
all
connecting
loop trail blazed
trails,
with white.
colored blazes are.
yeah, because we haven't blazed all the trails. Huh?
No, it's
Yeah.
only quarries. The only one that's in blue.
Why don't we just get rid of that whole second
Yeah,
sentence?
I would just say loop trail is blazed with white.
Okay.
Period.
Other or maybe other trails.
I just,
Not
Or-
blazed with white.
No, no, well, yeah, or put on here, not all trails blazed.
Right. Not, it's up to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
If
Maybe
you-
just
if you're gonna put
You know,
anything,
blazed with white.
yeah, if you're gonna put anything on there, put stuff that is.
You're right.
You know,
Exactly.
don't not should be
Right,
or whatever.
right.
It's you know even not blazed to be okay, but
Yeah, so loop trail blazed with white is the only fact that we can feel confident in. I think that might be the only thing that we put there and leave.
So it kind of works out that Quarry Trail is actually blue on this map.
That was, yeah, I made that suggestion.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't think I changed anything, so it must have been like that. Maybe.
See, now the expectation is you're gonna blaze it in the color you have on the
Now
map.
you're gonna have to get
Yeah.
10 different colors of paint. Sorry. We
But-
talked about that. Some of these properties might be symbolized by their uses.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
So
Greater
you might
Woods is
have-
going to be,
You might
Yeah.
have a green, red, white system on some of these where this random color scheme will go out the window and it'll be something that a little more meaningful.
Is there any parking off of Natticook by the quarry trail? I've never been out there.
No, not really. It's
Well,
just-
there's a couple of pull-offs.
yeah, a little pull off.
It's wide enough that you can put 2 cars in there.
Not this time of year, but
No, no,
Summer.
but yeah, when it's clear you can. And a lot of times, sometimes I've seen them park across the road where the sidewalk pavement is, the sidewalk is.
Wasserman side.
Yeah. Usually below the sidewalk area.
I wouldn't bring it up because we typically tell people if they want to park, they should park in Wasserman Park and walk the quarry trail.
Mm-hmm.
Some people know it's there on the road, so they'll park on the side of the shoulder anyway, so,
Hmm.
but I don't want to encourage that.
That's enough, just for those two people to know, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while we're talking about the quarry trail, it actually does extend into Wasserman Park, but
Right.
but it doesn't go straight across the road, so I don't think you can actually, with this map, show where it picks up.
Yeah, Matt talked about that a little with us, and if we really started showing the connections, we'd lose a little detail on the rest of it because we have to zoom out a little far.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can put a notation in that bottom right. To some extent, there's plenty of room to at least put a little call-out box and say
Two Wasserman trails.
trail extent or trail continues on, however you want to word it.
Yeah, I was kind of, last night I was doing one of these, should we or shouldn't we,
Hmm.
so.
Mm-hmm.
We did the same thing when we met.
Yeah.
We just said,
When we were looking at the Wasserman map too, I think we were talking about it
Yeah.
in reverse.
I decided that was probably a good conversation for here.
Here we
know-
are. Funny the puns at the end.
I'm not strong either way on it, so
Well-
we could leave it if you, so.
At some point in time, we're probably going to want to do something like this for Wasserman.
Well, he is.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, well, I know, but I think you're
Oh, to review it.
whatever you know what property, pick a property, who cares? We're going to want to do this for the property. And if we have the maps and scaled as such, you know, it would be nice to be able to, at some point in time, stitch them together. Because, you know, one of our focuses has been for a long time is, like, you know, we'd love to be able to get from park to park to park to park to park. And that would mean a trail that goes on the roads and goes across the roads and goes, you know, through easements and such. I mean, like Old Kings Highway, I mean, there's easements right there that get all the way behind Courier and all the way up into, you know, those are, I think we want to have those connectors, at least have them on there somewhere. And it might be nice to say, like you said, a little note, you know, to Wasserman Park.
Mm.
Because then, you know, in Wasserman Park, you'll have, you know, to Horse Hill.
There's space.
Yeah.
I got a couple of things. I think when I first looked at this, it said, you know, 0.41 miles. Well, I didn't see the decimal point.
Yeah, preceding zero.
I think a zero in there.
And you know, in the descriptions on the back, I added the zero because I
Yeah.
had the same thought. So, yep.
And the only other thing is, I would move the compass rose out into the map someplace.
And enlarge it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
maybe
agree.
up in the middle, or where the white spot is up here
I almost said that too.
above the Twister Trail. But people are used to seeing that on the map, not in the legend, because you look at the legend and then you go, oh, they must have a compass rose on here someplace, and they start looking for it and it's not there, and they may not. No, people who know the town will know that that's north.
Sure.
You know, but
Yeah, no problem. Anything else on that?
I have one thing, because everyone else said everything else. On the in your trail intersections, Can you, the unnumbered,
The asterisk?
yeah, can you make that a little bigger?
Yes.
Because it wasn't until I actually printed it out full size that I was like, oh, there is something there. and I put my glasses on.
I hadn't noticed, it's okay.
I mean, if it's like the same size as the ones on the drawing, it'd be perfect.
Now, what's that for? The
Those are-
asterisk.
Those are to say that
There's posts out there that just aren't numbered yet.
I
So
see.
if you follow Quarry Trail up and to where it hits the Old Kings, there's a couple posts like right there that aren't really numbered yet.
One other thing I wanted to point out that I think will change is if you look at the near intersections 9 and 14, where Rocky Trail, the purple one meets Loop Trail, you'll see all those kind of points on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because we GPS them all, and so when you're looking at a map of where they are, in actuality, they are all going to overlap. But we'll figure out a way to push those off to the side to show them all individually, but keep them in the same area, while at the same time, when this turns into the mobile app, they'll still sit where they sit when you're out on your phone, and
Right.
so they won't be, you know, we'll have to do 2 little separate deals to do that. but
Right.
That's okay.
It's called a cartographic representation in GIS, which basically you sort of fudge the placement on the map, even though the underlying data stays true to its geographic location.
And I lied, one more thing. You'll see the observation area as a star in the legend, and there's one on Loop Trail, kind of right at the top center of the map near the Twister Trail. And then there's the 2, I think at least 2, benches that are on the western side. When our map collected those, at least 1 or 2 of them in his little notes said that it's kind of an observation area with a bench. So I don't know if you want to lose one or the other and say, you know, just assume that if there's a bench there, there's something to look at, or if you want to put 2 symbols there, or what your feeling is. Maybe one is more of an observation area than another, so it's appropriate to keep them separate.
I think we could just mark them all as benches.
Yeah. Yeah, because, so the one observation area that you have
Yep.
was designed so that you could actually sit there and oversee the Watson property, which the bench is a memorial to Mr. Watson. But not everyone would get that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Now, where the benches are over by Lastoka Pond, people would walk up and say, oh yeah, you want to sit here, you can look over the pond, might even see a beaver out there or whatever, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think what Matt states is probably right. We probably should just call it a bench.
Yeah, I know some park maps I've done that what you're looking at is the important thing, so
Yeah.
they try and call out wildlife overlook or,
Yeah.
but it's kind of depends.
So what are we going to do with Greater Woods?
That's true, because we have real
We
observation.
have observation decks.
Observation decks.
Decks.
And no benches.
No benches.
Well, they all have benches.
Well, they have
They're
benches
built
built
in.
in.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should just.
Standing only.
Well, so we're saying we don't want to lose the symbol. We don't need it on this one.
Correct.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah,
Gotcha.
right.
So the star becomes an observation deck
On another.
on
Right.
the
On
greater.
Greater Woods.
I think there's even there's a symbol with like a tower looking thing. We can change it to that. Similar to the bench, but a lookout building.
Do a little pair of
Um,
goggles.
So on the back, like I said, I pretty much borrowed all this from the existing brochure. The trail descriptions, I truncated in a couple places just to fit everything. You're welcome to look through them, edit them, change them, add some if you need to. Obviously, we don't have a whole lot of room, so there'd have to be a real editing process if some of the other trails that aren't currently accounted for here need to have some sort of write-up. And again, think about, is this an appropriate thing to expect to do on the other properties as well? And if so, is that information already out there on your website that I can copy like this, or would you have to provide me with some text to do that? Or if this isn't appropriate for another property, what can go in its place?
Lots of wars.
Yeah.
So,
Good, right?
so I don't believe we actually have descriptions for any of our other properties at this point.
So, yeah.
But I think it's a good idea
Okay.
For properties or for the trails?
for the trails to have a trail description.
Well, we've got pretty lengthy trail descriptions in the stewardship plan for Greater Woods.
Yeah, we do, but we don't have them.
Not nice and concise like this.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So,
So that would have to be truncated.
yeah.
because that's a chapter.
Yeah. Just put a link to it.
Yeah.
But so Sarah and I had a quick conversation on Friday, I believe. Going forward, I think your intent is to eventually turn over the publisher document.
Yep.
And then
Reason we can't.
we would be doing the maintenance of this going forward, because I addressed with her a concern that came up, and that was like the Horse Hill Subcommittee. They said, well, what if we want to adjust a description? Now it's going to be an NRPC-owned document. And the answer is no, it's going to be a commission and subcommittee-owned document, and we can make those changes. The one thing that will be more static and that we'll go back to the NRPC for is the actual map itself, right? Is everyone in
Yep.
agreement with that?
Yep.
So.
I mean, like if trail is added, or, I mean, not necessarily
Yeah.
here, but on the other, then we would go back to the NRPC to get it.
Yeah.
Marked and
you know,
things.
We'd figure out a quick
Right.
contract or method to do that if it required, and we would do that. Because it'd be good to make sure that your base maps reflect the current trail system as well, because you also have a trail set up in your GIS, right? I'm not sure you've gone public with it yet, but.
Yeah, so right now, if you were to go to like our parcel viewer, our GS parcel viewer, so nashvillerpc.org, and then there's a big blue button on our homepage. It says Discover Our Live Maps. It's essentially a property viewer, so you can go and type an address or our owner's name, zoom around the map, but there's now trail and conserved lands as overlays. So the work that we've done over the summer is now reflected there. That itself too actually is, you can take, it's not designed to be a mobile app, but you can take it out into the field and sort of use the phone navigation services with it.
Does it have a parcel layer? There's property lines?
It has the property lines, yeah. I mean, that's really the point of that app. It's not really for trail mapping. It's not really for conserved tracks. It's a property viewer, really. So in order for something like that to happen, you have to have your GIS data parked somewhere on a public-facing server. It has to be hosted, and then you need some sort of app. So depending on if you're on a phone or a mobile device, or whether you're at a desktop, you would choose an app that can look at that hosted data. So that's part of the sort of next phase of our project with you is getting the data hosted. And so we've actually been making quite a bit of strides on that in the past couple months. So the GIS, not to get too crazy in the weeds, but our GIS right now at NRPC is behind a firewall. So we're basically staging an abbreviated version of that data in the Amazon cloud, and that's a public-facing spot that then exposes the data to anyone who really wants to use it. It's going to be a public-facing resource. So we're going to publish things like either KML or WMS or essentially map services that allow for apps to connect to the data. So the beauty of all that is it'll be synced with the NRPC on-premise server. So if we get a call that one of our trails needs to be edited, we'll do that in-house. It'll sync through database replication up to the cloud, and then it will be available to whoever is using
Hopefully,
the data.
it's not like the assessing synchronization that we had this year.
Not smooth.
$775,000 of assessments that were improperly made because the way they had it set up, it didn't sync right. It overwrote everything. That they put the changes in one file, and when they put it back into the main system, all of that information got overwritten. And so it came out as a taxable property. So we're sending tax bills out to the YMCA and to the Catholic Diocese of Manchester and to some of the churches, and it was
Merry Christmas.
Little egg on face.
well, it was the assessing firm came in and apologized profusely immediately, by the way, and then came in at our last meeting last week and did it again and explained what had happened and what corrective action they had taken. So it's just one of those crazy things you run into when you're trying to put this functionality into things, and people just think it's it's like an automatic thing. Right. And then, you do that in your head, And no, when you do it here, you gotta do it in paper. You gotta do it in the programming. I have a question here. Are there no hours of restrictions on this parcel, on this property? No?
No.
No.
Okay.
No restrictions.
I have three things. Two posts are missing on the map.
Yeah.
2 and 16.
Okay, where would they be?
2 is where, right after 1, where Loop Trail comes and where Blodgett Hill
Yep.
Summit Trail meets it.
Okay.
That's 2. And then at the, where the Blodgett Hill Summit Trail intersects with the green and the white that will be changing, that kind of four-way there, that's where the 16 should be. The four-way of Blodgett Hill Summit, Blodgett Hill Bypass,
Yeah,
and
okay.
White.
Yep.
That's the 16. And then another thing that's maybe a little more difficult, roughly the size of Long Pond. Lastoka Pond is about the same size,
Yeah, we talked about
but it appears to be a river here.
Yeah, it's a very small piece of wetlands in our GIS data.
Is there a way to make that, like, take Long Pond, cut and paste?
We can do something, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think people are gonna go out there and be like,
They're gonna think they're bushwhack it.
there's a pond out there somewhere, you know, like.
Okay.
We
So
can
if I
use
just refer to
the planimetric data from the town, maybe is a little bit better.
Sure. Yep. Right.
We can do.
Yeah. Even aerials, I think, show it
Yeah.
much
Yep.
better.
Okay.
Because you know,
It's much more sizable.
Yeah, okay.
and relatively close to those two benches. You know, the pond is big, and it's big till, you know, space wise, till below the word pond on the map.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's there.
We could just check the source on that and find a better one. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and while you look,
It goes all over the place.
yeah, while you're looking, look at Long Pond too, because that bridge over by the trail intersection,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
it goes all the way,
Yeah.
well, just about to that bridge, not
Maybe
quite.
South of the pond.
Yeah,
Bridge?
it gets close. That bridge is actually an outlet stream, but
Okay.
it's close.
Okay.
I really love the biker getting ready to wipe out on the front. That was my favorite. I thought that was like that was gonna be like that's Matt right there.
Sound like they like that.
This is like taking a header.
That was my favorite.
That's what I would look like. So,
Now, you're talking about these, not anomalies, but these local knowledge of what you have in here as
Yes.
opposed to what's mapped. Are you gonna put any disclaimer on here that says, hey, look, this is mapped to the best of our ability. It may not reflect the actual precise location of whatever feature is shown here?
But it
Little
does.
disclaimer.
Sure, it did.
I understand. but
We don't
you're
have that.
telling
We don't
me-
have that disclaimer on the current map, and that one's.
You're telling me Lastoka Pond is bigger than it is, and then the Long Pond comes further down, and
I don't know. I've never seen a disclaimer like that on a map. So,
all right.
Yeah.
We could provide probably an example of, you know,
It's not
best
Yeah.
intended, but
wrapped
not
around the axle line.
legally
It's,
whatever.
yeah,
it's just-
because
No.
the more stuff you put all over a map, the harder.
I understand. Yeah, that's why I said.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I'm not invested in it, so.
So the permitted uses like the biker and everything else, I kind of intended that to be, let's pick all the uses that you can think of that you want to show as allowed or not, and keep that consistent on every property, and turn them red or green depending on. So if, you know, obviously like the target shooting would be red on all of them. So if there's any other activities that you would like to see highlighted on every map, or take some out, you can let me know that. These tend to be the standard ones, I think, that I saw on most of your, on the website descriptions and.
Yeah, we took great pains a while back to make sure the website was accurate.
Okay.
Okay. When it come to permitted and not permitted uses.
So you think these 8 cover it? I mean, there's no other things that I've seen are dogs and things like that. I don't know how.
Yeah, we didn't go crazy with permitted uses.
Okay. Okay. The hours we covered that I got off the existing website, the notices I got, and then the little source at the bottom. We can talk about the picture a little on the cover. So, like I said, I really liked, and when I was looking at examples around the country of trail maps, I liked the full page color cover. This is a picture of Horse Hill on here. It's from the Creative Commons of Flickr, and so we have an account there. And if you go and search for Horse Hill, you'll see pictures of various copyright levels. Some are you can't use this at all. Some are you can use it, but make sure you source it. Some are don't change it, don't make it black and white, don't stretch it. So this is cropped and everything else, and so I've put the source here, how they on the bottom of that middle column, how the website says to source it if you've taken those actions. So
Used to be
if
on
you've
that.
got pictures that you think might work here, that's great. If you want us to just keep looking for our own, that's great, or to take our own. They have to be big enough so that when I stretch it 8.5 by 11 full page, they don't distort or blur. That's the story.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, in a nutshell, if you have pictures that you're attached to or you think could be highlighted because you've maybe dug them out for the website, we can echo them here. If not, we can provide imagery. So, if you like this, we'll keep this one here. I think it's a nice picture with the foliage, but
I kind of thought, well, 4 maps, why don't we find one of each season and try and do that, but maybe that won't work out. I don't know. We'll see
It's
how
better
it
than the trenching equipment on there if the pipeline comes.
The only Horse Hill picture I saw on the website that was completely restriction-free was power lines, actually. It was a beautiful shot of the fog, but I didn't think a power line would be
Solid.
representative.
No, I like that.
So
You know,
that's where we are so far. So
I think the power line on the map is really going to help with the map too, because you have to cross it 4, almost 5 times on one loop around the loop trail.
Yep.
And that's where people get turned around, because once they hit it the 4th or 3rd or 4th time, they're like, wait a minute, I'm here again? You know, because it does always look the same underneath the power line.
Right.
And by the time they're hitting it for the last time, they're like, I gotta turn back. And that's the last point you want to turn
You almost
back.
made it all the way around.
Because you're almost there. But, you know, the instinct for a lot of people is I gotta go back because I've seen this too many times.
that has the makings of an Eagle Scout project. No, you're in the right place. Just proceed. Keep walking. Yeah. You've not seen this before.
Is there no junction marker at Palmieri in the loop trail? I noticed that's kind of sticks out.
No, it's really a neighborhood trail.
Yeah.
I did notice one other thing.
Yeah.
So where the label you have for Old Kings Highway is,
Yes.
it's white underneath that label.
It's conserved.
There's actually a parcel there that's part of Horse Hill. Some of the maps show it as a triangle. So,
so it really should be green.
yeah, it really should be green. Bring the current map. It shows up on the current map, right? Yeah, it does. Yeah. If you look at the current map, it's a triangle. One side is Old Kings Highway, the other side is the...
Is a color one.
Yeah. Okay. Right above the power lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, well, my wife keeps talking about, we ought to cut a trail back to Horse Hill. I'm going, yeah, right. What do you mean we, Kimosabi? It's 705 feet back to get back there.
Tell her there's not many colors left.
If you walk down the street 2 properties and take a left,
I know.
you've got one.
Have we come up with a new name for Fat Cat yet?
No, actually, it's a right.
No, but we added a new trail above it.
That goes off to the west, right? To the yellow?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we need to get that.
Yeah, I think Spalding Foundation the trail that goes up is called the Plumber Trail. And the power lines, I think, are the big things that we're seeing, right? And the
It's-
Listoka Pond.
It's busy. I was thinking when I was looking at the Wasserman map, that's going to be a busy map. There's a lot of trails out there.
However, it's such a much smaller parcel.
Yep.
The, you know,
The
this
blow-
size font, you'll actually have some space
Yeah,
because the you know.
right. I get it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, we tried to get out ahead of all 4 properties as much as possible so that we're not addressing different problems every time we hit a new property that we haven't thought of before. So hopefully there won't be too many recurring issues as we go.
Yeah, and probably the next step would be to deliver the remainder of the maps as a packet of all 4 and have you review them all at once as opposed to piecemeal. It may actually make more sense for us to lay them all out.
Oh, yeah.
And then you anticipate all the sort of variances
Right.
across and come up with a suggestion of how to handle them.
That and you can note things where you need more data so we can start working on it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I don't believe there are any exceptions to the permitted uses in Horse Hill, but that's not the case in all the properties, right? There are some, like maybe I think you said in Greater, where maybe horseback is permitted, but it's not advisable, or maybe so that's another thing where it's another mapping scenario we'll have to work out. Those accepted
Yeah, I think
uses.
Is horseback permitted in Wildcat?
I think so. I don't think it's not permitted, so.
I don't think it's restricted anywhere.
I wouldn't want to see a horse in there.
You do have, in your descriptions, I noticed, you do have inadvisable for horses on a lot of these specific trails.
Yeah.
So maybe that remains a text type of.
It might, yeah. It might be better to just have that as in the trail description.
Okay.
What we recommend or what we don't recommend.
You mentioned Wildcat, which reminded me on that little Wildcat map you have that whiz tag, the Google thing. I don't know if any of your other current things have code
The
pictures on them.
The QCR, the
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
QC card. Yeah.
QR. Is that something you want to link to Merrimack Outdoors on every map? Just a little.
So the QR code would basically
Scan it
just
with the phone.
hold the URL to the property page. So rather than
It just stops people having to sit there and try to type it on the phone.
Type-
You can just
yeah,
scan
type
it
the
in and it brings
address,
up the
right.
web page,
right.
which is kind of neat. But I mean,
Planning on changing the
where do you
link at all?
You'd have to put it. You wouldn't want to put it on the map, right? Or do you want it on the map?
Well, that's the thing. Where would you put it on the map? Because you'll have people
Well, if
that
you had
won't.
a printed map, you
You'll
could
have people. Yeah, you'll have people
scan
that
your phone
you'll
over
have
it.
people that won't take a map. Oh, I'll just put it on my phone. It's on paper.
So you'd want it at the kiosks. You'd want the tag at the kiosks.
Yep, that's an option.
We could do.
Yeah,
Maybe we
that's
could-
kind of what we've done at Wildcat Falls. Is we created a large version of that map where it's really prominent, so you'll know right
Yeah.
away that you can see it.
Maybe that's what we do. We print a couple big ones of each of them and put them in the kiosks with the QR code on 'em.
I mean, the QR code could be something separate too.
Right.
If you wanted to post it next to whatever you're posting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily have to be embedded here.
Right.
We just have to keep in mind if you want these big, that introduces resolution considerations. So, I don't know, this is probably a 7 or 8 meg file or something like that, and it's prints really well on 11 by
Right.
8. But if you want 34 by 44,
It's a new map for us.
yeah.
First. It's kind of more split.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a good thing you bring up.
I would say, we
Neato.
could confidently go 17 by 22 maybe on this resolution, but anything bigger than that would be a new map.
Yep.
Well, go as big as it looks good, and that's what goes in the kiosk. Because we don't have any giant kiosks.
17 by 22 is double this.
That would work.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a map that this map is now.
Well, what I'd suggest is maybe someone could measure the map at the Horse Hill parking lot because that's the biggest of
Mm.
all the kiosks, because I believe the ones you have in Greater Woods are actually slightly smaller.
Much smaller.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, right. The Wildcat Falls one is smaller.
Hmm.
So,
Single sheet 8 4x plywood.
yeah. So,
That's something
Well, we
twice
could
the
work
size people do.
the other direction too. We could see how big you can get this before the quality degrades and let you know,
yeah,
and then
that,
you can decide if that's going to be okay.
yeah.
Okay, we'll test it. And it's really the embedded picture. It's really the map that is going to be affected by that. Everything else, the vector stuff scales. So
Well, that's
It
this
would
should
just
be.
the map anyway.
Yeah,
you
we'll
would
just be a
put-
map
you
because
would
this.
put page
yeah,
A,
the map
A
and
and B
well,
next
probably.
to each other.
I would think that we'd probably want the trail descriptions.
Yeah.
You want 2 pages kind of next to each other?
Well, on the kiosk, we have the maps, that we have the brochure, so,
When they're there.
yeah, and they're pretty well
Yeah.
stocked. You know, Roland and team does a good job
No,
of
I,
keeping
yeah, I'm,
that.
I'm just saying it's it's.
There.
Yeah, right. The Greater Woods one's a little harder, right?
Well, there's only 2 kiosks,
Yeah.
2
Yeah.
places that we put them. We don't have them at the school yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. For that box.
But we don't have a big map,
Oh no.
No.
so I'm sure people aren't looking for it there.
Yeah. Lots of fun.
Yeah,
Internal problem.
Got it.
we're at a good starting point
Yeah.
now, though.
Great.
You know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's
So,
right. Geek.
okay.
I'm geeked out, man. I'm excited about this.
Okay, so it's we've got our list of things to do. Just looking back at the schedule, so the springtime was when we were going to try to finalize the mapping, but we should set maybe a self-imposed date on ourselves to get you the rest of the drafts. Let's go to this. I'm thinking maybe end of February. We can shoot for, and then do the same thing. Gage, we can forward you drafts that you can circulate, and then you can make a call if you want us to come back in. That's probably what we'll have to do, and huddle. Maybe spend a little more time if we're going to be reviewing 3 maps.
Yeah. So I was looking at our deliverables.
Mm-hmm.
So this is pretty much a discussion about the static mapping, I believe.
Right.
But then at some point, I guess the GPX data downloads, they should be pretty simple for you to,
Yeah, they are. I mean, we basically stuck them at the end of the schedule because of the things that come up in the map review.
yeah,
A
understood.
new trail.
Right, yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, we could give you DPX now if you wanted, if you needed it, if the state
No.
needed it.
No. No, my question really is more about the Esri interactive maps, because I know we changed, we changed as we got going. We decided not to go with the full interactive map.
Right.
story map,
which
right.
was kind of separate. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was kind of separate.
Yeah.
So what is the plan for the interactive maps then?
Well, I mean, really, it's just us getting it staged and online. So I guess we are a little bit behind the original schedule because I think we had hoped for November to get you a demo of what we were talking about.
Yeah. But-
So it kind of hinges on this hosting thing that I've been talking about, but it's really fast to post it once the data's ready to go and once you've got your host ready to go. So.
But so with that though, don't you need material from us, pictures and stuff like that, or not, or was there was
So
you and I talked about pictures, and I was trying to
Less of a
figure out.
feature for the basic
Yeah.
mobile app.
Okay,
Get it on an app and let someone navigate with it, then the story maps is really where the pictures
with the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You
All right.
can set up the mobile app so that if someone were to click on a trail, they could have a little box pop up with a picture maybe and some information
Yeah.
about it, but it's on that small screen. I don't think it's going to give you what
Right.
you want.
Right. Okay.
Right, yeah, we're kind of really talking about that lightweight little app that sits on your phone
Yep.
with the crosshair. It shows your location, and as you traverse, it shows you where you are.
No, I'm good. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that we weren't holding you up either. If you needed material from
No,
us. So,
Not on that.
okay.
How did Matt do on Greater Woods?
I saw him out there.
Did you?
Yeah.
A couple of us run into him out
Head
there.
of the snow, I
Yeah,
think
he
he
goes
was
back.
up there.
There was a couple days, I guess, when the GPS wasn't behaving very well, but we've corrected that and we've got full coverage, I think.
Oh, okay.
As far as he told me, so
Great.
when probably the next time you see it, I assume we'll be in this format, and you can give us a comment on that unless we reach out to you in between then to say, we have no idea what's going on this trail, help us. So,
I can also send you a link if you want to see the data that's
Yeah.
on our parcel viewer. I can send
Oh,
you
okay.
a bookmark that's just that extent, so you can see what the data looks like there too.
He was on the skyline when I saw him.
Oh, okay, good.
yeah. He managed.
But he found it because I remember he was
Yes.
having trouble finding that one.
Well, he was having trouble finding Rustetta Ridge. Because I met him and we were out by the classroom. It's like, just imagine yourself walking straight through the school. Just keep going.
You can't hide where you walk. When
Yeah.
you come back with GPS data, everyone can tell where you were. So.
Yeah.
Tell exactly how
here.
Why did you do that 5 times?
Sort of like the register on your computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Clear history.
Yeah, right. Breadcrumbs.
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
This is great.
Thanks for having us back.
Said I'm excited about this. Thank you.
You.
It's been fun.
I'll leave the extras here. You said you had someone who wasn't here. Maybe they.
Yeah, Gina was.
Yeah.
All right. No. Trim it. Trim it and it folds up really nice.
There you go.
Thank you. You said you were having trouble printing this out?
Well, yeah, so when I printed it, it came out much smaller than the 8.5 by 11 because it was designed to be.
It printed on an 8.5 by 11.
Well, when I print on 8.5 by 11,
Right, it came out like that.
It scales down lower.
So if you print on 11 by 17, you get it.
Right, and then you can cut it out, and it works just perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you did?
I did.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what this turns into.
I screwed it up though, because you open it up and then you go look at the map and you're like, oh.
So if I cut this and
So I
fold
flipped
it
on the
up,
wrong side somehow.
it'll be that.
It
Yes.
looks like that. That's why you have
This
the
is
tick marks.
It's the thing. It's exactly 11 and a half. It's 8.5 by 11.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
That's why the tick marks are there.
So I mean, that's if you really want to see, that's what it's going to look like. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got the whole thing in front of you, but that's what it's going to look like.
Right.
And people will be excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah. Yeah, but when I printed it smaller, it was
Right.
too hard to tell.
Yeah.
But at this size, and that's why when I was on the phone with Sarah, when I was talking to her Friday, I said, it'd be great if you could bring, what it looks like on real paper, the way we'd really have it, because I think it would be stunning compared to what my little ink printer can do at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, this is great.
And this does. It really kind of brings it to life.
Yep.
Yeah, I know, when I first saw it, I thought it was blown up.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, wow, this is the actual map.
Yeah.
This is nice.
Yeah. So,
This is why you pay professionals to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The other reason is they're better equipped and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It does. It looks good. It's going to be. It's going to be helpful.
And in this case, all that data is going into their thing, so they'll have the layers. What they're creating over there is really amazing. And to have this as part of it, it's going to be really useful in another 10 years when all the other towns get all their trails and everything else brought into it. So you really will be able to map your way from one end of the NRPC region all the way to the other and stay off the pavement for long periods of time.
I mean, one of the things that we found in working with them on the pipeline was how far ahead we are of the other communities in the district, in the region, in terms of our sophistication and staffing, and what we can do on our own compared to the Masons and the Greenvilles and line boroughs and all the other things that are over there sitting there with, not that they're, they're chopped liver, but they're volunteers who are trying to pack all this stuff into everything else that they do and trying to come up with it and get hit with a project of that scope, and go, what the, I don't think I signed up for this.
Yeah, it doesn't get done.
All right. Well, I think that was it's a good direction. I like that. New business. Anybody got anything? No. Good.
That property owner of the hotel the old hotel property, did come in and talk to I think they did come in and talk, or are going to come in and talk to the planning board about residential units on that parcel.
So behind the White Hen?
Yes, yeah, because you're going to have the extended stay facility, and then behind them, they wanted to, I think, 220 units or something. I mean,
Yeah,
Jesus.
something like that, yep.
I just can't imagine the traffic.
Oh, that intersection's great.
Yeah. It used to be okay. It used to be good. Then they put the stoplight up.
You'll be able to walk through it faster than you can drive through it
Yeah. Well, you're already there. You're already there now.
at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You're already there now. You're backing up traffic all the way up the ramp onto the Route 3. All right. Other business.
Really start the Turnpike project.
So I sent you all a picture today of just how far Matt, Nat, and I and Wes got on the classroom bridge.
Did you get
It's not funny.
no frostbite anyway?
Well, no, they were actually, it was pretty cold that they were out there, and we didn't really realize it until we realized that all the water that we were splashing up on the rocks was freezing, and now had basically made ourselves an ice skating rink on the rocks. So it was kind of interesting to watch us trying to maneuver around. So, in short, Matt, as you guys know, Matt and I went down to Andover a few months ago when we put one of these bridges in, and great. And, oh wow, this is great idea, great. This is, phew. Well, so either side of Powell Brook is relatively rocky, and we found them all, and because you don't have to look very far. And the anchors, it's gonna take some effort, a lot more effort than we were out there for 5 hours and we got 4 posts in, and so it was. We at the very end there we think we have a better idea of how to get these things seated and started, so we're gonna try again, and we're gonna have to go buy a couple stringers now to. We're not going to be able to span it with 10 foot. We're going to have to go to 12 foot. So we're going to have to buy a couple of stringers now to go to 12 foot. So in the interim, we moved all that lumber back and all the posts and everything back into my yard. So now it's at the end of my driveway again. So we're going to win though.
You're gonna win. Yeah.
We're going to win. Eventually, we'll win. So there's two saddles up right now, and they're just waiting for a bridge. So that's the classroom bridge. Update. Any subcommittee updates, Cindy?
Actually, someone from the subcommittee, Lynn, has 2 duck boxes. Right? And so she was noticing that I guess there's one now off of Natticook Road near a beaver deceiver, she said, that needs to be replaced. So that was at least one that's falling down that, but need help putting them up. And I think you guys did that last year. Didn't you do some...
Did you have a file of where they were?
Yeah.
Is it Eber's old file?
No, it's that plus some
newer stuff?
Some updated stuff. We just don't have GPS coordinates of them.
Yeah.
But we have a little bit. I mean, the way Eber did it is
I know.
He found a landmark.
Yep. 400 steps from
and he said, 327 steps due north from this landmark.
Oh, wow.
And, you know,
Yeah, but he found every
Or
single one of
change
them every
two
year.
links.
we found every single one every year. And
So-
just by his description,
Yeah.
I would be like, oh, okay, here's that. And I'd start walking, and I'd be like, 1, 2, and then I'd be like, all right, I'm just going to keep walking for a little bit. Oh, there it is, you know? It worked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but then I put some notes on his, and I do have the list.
We should probably get that electronically somewhere retrievable and start numbering up the houses, because I've got two boxes in my shed that we never got put up. We didn't put up last year.
Oh.
Now,
Few-
you said Lynn has some.
2 more. Yeah, she has 2 more. I mean, I'd go with you, but I couldn't do it by myself. I'd be clueless.
You can drive.
Yeah, I'll drive.
In a few weeks, I guess, you know, cold weather.
Yeah, we're going to need frozen, because we're going to have to replace the bedding in the existing,
Yeah.
but you need completely frozen. And at that point, you still have to watch out for,
Yeah.
because typically where you're putting these things are a lot of beavers, and they keep a lot of that ice open. So when it's snow covered, it's pretty.
It's nice when we get really cold weather without snow for a little while, so the ice gets really hard, because now snow is insulating that ice from
It
freezing.
is.
So
It's slushy and
Maybe we should talk about it at our January meeting.
Yeah, it's probably a better time. It's mid-January to do it.
between now and then, maybe we get that file revved up a little bit. See if we can collect up all the extra duck boxes around and.
Even if you scan it, you can send it to Amy and have her put it in, at least in her files that she has for all of us.
Yeah.
Because she keeps on the town share area, she's got a whole set of files that she's been putting together and maintaining.
Great.
Because I've been asking her, when I was chair, to start creating an electronic file of all our stuff.
Good.
And then, this isn't necessarily coming from the subcommittee, but she was remembering that there had been some townwide meetings in the past with Fish and Game, just like informational sessions. And she was talking to someone who recently saw, I think, 3 fishers. And the woman was concerned for her children and, you know, called Fish and Game, wanted them removed. And
Fisher cats?
they said no. Yeah,
No.
fishers. Well, they're actually
Yeah.
called fishers, but
Yeah.
everybody calls them fisher cats, right? And so like that would be a question and answer. Like, do I have to be worried? You know, and in reality, the numbers are going down right now, and they're the only predator for porcupine. So we really wouldn't want to remove, you know, anyway. But that kind of started her thinking of maybe we could have a, you know, informational session like that, either with Fish and Game or UNH or, you know, but make it a town-wide. It's just the starting point, you know, just
So
ideas, or if it's
we spoke briefly last meeting about once a month try and get a subcommittee to
Right.
sponsor an event, and that's awesome. If they want to do, if that's something that you guys want to get together, I mean, January is not far away.
right. I know.
We can, you know, and again, and I think we just need to pick a date. It's like, you know, again, like the third
Yeah.
Saturday or the whatever, just some arbitrary date. But it's every month. There's going to be a event hosted by MCC and the subcoms.
Right.
It's like a rock band. MCC and the subcoms.
Right.
Yeah.
And we haven't. This hasn't been discussed at the subcommittee yet because we haven't had a meeting. But
Yeah.
another
Well, no,
meeting.
but I mean that's
I mean,
a
I
great.
don't know if they're willing to.
Yeah, that's a great event.
Yes.
That's something that we, because you
But-
can do that during the winter, and you don't have to worry about getting people outside, and you
Right.
can still get events.
Oh, right, because it'd be inside. Yeah.
So that might be helpful.
I've probably only spotted 3 or 4 of those in 30 years living.
Yeah. Yeah, they're, you know, usually,
Yes, they're elusive, yeah.
you know, but it's like that.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody had remembered when they were before, or, you know, how they did them. No, nobody remember. Okay. But, okay, that's all I
I have
have.
a couple of other business items, but not related to the subcommittee.
Okay.
So, because the Wildcat Subcommittee doesn't meet again until January. So 2 things. Todd from Fish and Game, our local conservation officer, reached out to me last week because someone had a concern of someone hunting on Riverside Drive parcel. Found a tree stand. I just wanted to make you aware of that. And Todd wanted to know if there was hunting permitted out there, and I referred him to the town code, which shows that there's no hunting allowed on that. So he had removed or captured the tree stand and spoke to the hunter, and he wanted to make sure he relayed the right information to the hunter. So I'm hoping that he completed that task. But someone at the town police department gave him my name, figuring that I was tied to the Conservation Commission. So that's just one item. The other item is I spoke to Wendy on Friday about the website. We're targeting a early mid-January launch. She's still working out a few concerns we had with the Stay in Touch page. And she says she's really just kind of looking for pictures and photos. I sent you all links to where to put your photos.
Oh yeah, I haven't done that yet. Sorry.
Take some time over the holidays and dump them in there, so that way she can process them in early January. She is going to look for a way to capture and deal with videos and how we could present them if we got them. And then lastly, she's going to start putting together her thoughts on our maintenance contract, so we can get that in place. Something that we had agreed to doing. And as soon as we launch, 3 months later, we're going to be ready for our first quarterly update. So more to come on that.
Okay. Great.
I have something. So you guys saw the email I sent about Barbara from the New Hampshire Conservation.
Yes, the director.
Whatever.
Yeah.
The president director. So Tim sent me some information about the history of the fund that we get our money from, and I think it sounds like I'm going to contact her again, but it sounds like she wants kind of like a little article type of thing. So I think with what you gave me, and I'll send that to her, and I can probably put together something. A brief. She just wants something brief describing our experience with it. So that it's probably, I think, for my guess, it's for incentive for other conservation commissions to possibly get a deal with their town to get funding like that, and how the benefits of that. So I'll just do that.
If you want me to
Yeah.
to review it before you send it, I'd be happy to.
Okay, thanks. I'll do that.
Okay.
And I'll find out. I wanted to wait till after this meeting, but I'll find out too, exactly what she wants.
I do have a request for Tom. Tom, I believe there was a House bill passed or legislation passed that changed the right to know law effective January 1, related to how you take and do minutes for non-public.
Oh.
If you could ask the town attorney to research the changes in legislation that have become
Sure.
effective, and then provide us guidance, because typically, we do our own non-public minutes within the team here, so I think we and any other committee or commission or board that does non-public sessions is going to want that. So,
Okay.
right? As well as
Yep.
your minutes taker and Eileen and everyone else is probably going to want to know that. So
Well, we do the same thing.
yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But there's at least a half a dozen bills have been proposed dealing with the right to know law.
Yeah. But in this case, this was passed at
Yeah.
the last session, so it's effective January 1 or January something. So
Probably January 1.
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, not at all. Matt, do we the Greater Subcom is not? We're not
December
having-
off.
December's off. Okay. So we don't have anything there. I am in receipt of the seedling catalog for
Wow.
2017.
It's come so quick.
It comes so
Every
quick,
year.
yes. I put a preliminary list together, and like I did last year, I sent it over to Bob McCabe. I'd just like to get his opinion and make sure we're getting, natural, good quality decisions on trees and shrubs. I was just talking to John Listoka a few weeks ago. I had some questions for him regarding chestnut trees. And lo and behold, if anyone saw the journal, today or the other day. They did a big article. They did a big talk about it over in Milford in the library, which I didn't realize they were doing, which kind of bums me out. I would have gone, but this is the American Chestnut Society, and I was going to see if reasonably cost, if we can get some chestnut. I don't know if anyone would really be into getting chestnut seedlings.
I think we had them one year.
We had hazelnuts and we had walnuts.
Oh, okay. Well, American walnut.
We're American
So
walnuts.
obviously these chestnuts would be that hybrid that they've been.
I don't.
kind of
I'm not.
this-
I have not spoken to them,
Yeah.
so I don't know exactly what they have available,
That'd
and
be
if they have anything available, and if they do, if there's something that are available at a price point that we're willing to buy. So, I just thought it was interesting. So like I said, I'm gonna get together a list for the chestnut for the seedlings. I'll send it all out so we have something to talk about for the next meeting. But I'm gonna also pursue looking at chestnuts and see if we can find some, because we have 2 or 3 in town that are still alive, and that's it. So it'd be kind of interesting to see if we could.
You think for something like that, a small fee would be appropriate? I think there would be people who would probably come forward under those circumstances if it was reasonable.
Yeah, right. That's the same. I don't know anything about them. I mean, they may be so thrilled to have someone want them that who knows? I just don't know.
I mean,
know?
everything I've read so far, they've been planting them in stands, small stands.
Right, they've been putting them in small stands and trying to get them to grow, and they have some of the Japanese chestnut, Chinese chestnut in them. So they have that resistance to the blight.
Yeah.
So, and they try to take it and breed it in and then breed it back out and keep just the true American chestnut. So.
I can still remember chestnut trees.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to.
It's an awful.
I used to play with all the.
It's an awful story.
Dropping.
The spiky.
Yeah.
There's still one in my old neighborhood, and it's huge. It's almost a woman's entire yard, and it's still there.
Yeah. Well.
Get these isolated ones that survived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, no, good.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Anybody else? Anything else? No? We want to move on to the minutes. Did anybody get a chance to review them, Cindy?
Yes, I did this time. I don't think I had many changes.
Yeah, I said I did not go. I went through them, but I did not find much at all.
Yeah.
Of anything. So.
Motion to approve the December 5th minutes with updates.
Second.
All those in favor?
Right.
Updates?
Mm-hmm. With updates.
I got a couple of questions in the minutes.
Oh, okay.
Do you first, since you moved?
You can, no, go ahead.
Okay, so page 3, line 29. I believe what Chairman Perry requested commissioners forward any comments to him by the end of the following week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because this meeting was on the 5th, and you wanted comments by the 15th, I believe you stated. So.
Yeah.
That end, further down, line 51, this is referring to Mr. Kane. It says, and his desire to bring individuals from his company out to view the area. Really not his company. It's from the New England Wildflower Society. Did I get it right? Yeah.
No, yeah, I believe so. Something along those lines.
Yeah. So it wasn't his company, because he's a company of one.
So, from New England Wildflower Association.
Yeah, or society. I'd have to look it up. Sorry, I meant to do that before the meeting, but I got tied up. So, then flipping to page 4, between lines 8 and 9, it says that event would be permitted at Wasserman Park. I think we spoke about both Wasserman Conservation Area and Wasserman Park. I guess so I wasn't sure if we wanted to say both areas or just wanted to say Wasserman Park and leave it as a generality. Doesn't matter either way.
I'd leave it.
Yeah, all right. So we'll leave that one
Because if
alone.
it gets off the ground,
Yeah,
you'll have,
yeah,
somebody will have maps or something that they'll be handing out to people.
right. Okay. But staying on page 4, down at line 30, the sentence actually starts in the previous line. Is he noted as long as the area where active construction is occurring, change the word is to be it should be avoided.
It is going to, should be?
Yeah, it should be. If it is occurring, it should be avoided. Basically, with this construction going on, the developer didn't want anyone going near that
Yep.
for safety reasons. So, that, and then I have a question all the way out on page 5, line 49. And the question's really from Mike. So, in the middle of the sentence says, he think the,
The spelling is right.
it is right. Okay.
Yes,
Just wanted to be
yeah.
sure we got it right.
I was amazed.
Yeah, that's terrific. Good. That's all I had.
I have the prior minutes, and it says New England Wildflower Society.
Society.
I think that's what you said,
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
I was gonna look that up. New England Wildflower Society, okay. Thank you, Cindy.
So on page 2, row 15 and 16, maybe I'm just not
There's an R missing, right?
reading it right. Yeah, and report, right, yeah. Report should have an R, line, and row 16. But that last sentence, like I said, maybe I'm just not reading it right. Look at values functions that the other categories don't, such a rarity in the state, et cetera. Such as a rarity?
Say that, were you in 15?
Yep, 15 into 16.
Look at values functions that other categories don't. That should be a comma after don't.
Should be a comma, right, and it should be such as rarity in the state.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Looks at
there.
values and functions that other categories don't, such as rarity in the state.
yeah.
Mhm. Good.
And then you're right, report,
Report, yeah, just missing the
yeah.
R. Page 3, row 33. Change it to be she.
How do you know?
Because keep reading, so she, so. Okay, we'll be consistent, you know.
Okay. That's so funny.
Well, you know.
Well, you could have said the turtle.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's
That's
true.
true.
More descriptive, other than figuring that some woman's trapped out there someplace.
Oh, right.
With a beacon on it, and we can't find her.
Right. Trapped under the water now. Yeah. And that's all I have.
All right, I didn't have any, so I'm good. Anyone else? All right, so those are.
Want to vote now?
Yeah, now we need to vote.
Okay,
That's
that's
right.
right. Yeah.
I did that early, didn't I?
Yeah.
You did. All right. So Cindy's motion to approve the minutes as amended. How do we vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 6-0-0.
Matt was not here.
Abstain.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, 5-0-1. Matt, Karen abstaining.
Yeah.
Oh, so you weren't here, were you?
That's right.
Sorry, Don. Okay. Public comment. I think we're free there. Commissioner comments.
Go home baking cookies.
Yeah, that's right.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Same.
Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see you all next year.
Yep,
That's right.
that's true.
Council discussed the solar exemption at the last meeting. And it really got complicated because of the fluid situation with solar energy and government interaction and other things that were going on. So I don't know what's going to happen with it. Somebody's going to have to bring it forward or bring a petition forward to see if it gets placed on the ballot in April.
So this is about the increase in property value for
Yeah.
solar?
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, your argument started out about, so what's the difference between a swimming pool or a garage? I said, or, more apt application would be the personal computer or a cell phone, when those first came out as new technology. How much did you pay for your first computer, your first desktop? And what did you get for what you paid for compared to what you're getting now? So that whole, and then I brought up the 900-pound gorilla, which is the subsidy piece of it, because there's no free lunch. So, anyway, at this point, they haven't taken any action other than a general consensus that if anything is done, that it'll be a ballot question at this point. Or the intent is to make it a ballot question. I won't speak for any future action that the council might take, but that was what I had the feeling when we finally concluded the conversation. Well, that was a likely issue. So, anyway. Okay.
That'd be a good idea.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Got it.
6-0. No one's abstaining from that one. And it's 8:14. So,
Good one.
yeah.
I was just figuring, Cindy's been so good about jumping all over that. I was just waiting for a second.
Okay, a little off tonight. I showed up at 6.
Oh.